Hello, my dear colleagues. My name is Negruta Hanna Mykolaevna and I've been teaching English at secondary school number 4. So, in today's training, I'm going to share with you how to transform just an ordinary lesson into something which can actually develop important life skills of your students. Today, we are going to talk about teaching online following the ESAP framework. As any virtual teacher quickly discovers, teaching online is different to teaching face-to-face. The remote nature of online learning can affect engagement, make it harder to see whether learners are on task, and depending on your video conferencing tools, make speaking tasks more challenging to implement. The good news is that all the teaching techniques that you use in a face-to-face classroom are all still vital for online learning. To help you adapt to an online environment, I suggest following the online teaching methodology, ESAP, which stands for Engage, Study, Activate, and Practice. This approach is very similar to what you do in the face-to-face classroom, but with different tools. So, ESAP, Engage, Study, Activate, and Practice. It's distance teaching methodology. As for face-to-face lesson, we've got homework, it's usually paper workbook, warm-up and revision, presentation and practice, production, homework, paper, workbook. As for online lesson, we start with practice. Usually it's with the help of interactive environment. Engage. We engage with warm-up, retrieval practice, prior knowledge activation. We study with new language introduction followed by controlled practice. Activate free language production and practice with the help of an interactive environment. Exploiting online tools. When planning online lessons, you need to consider the tools available in your video conferencing platform. This determines how you can implement activities and give feedback. Use Zoom. Zoom has become an integral part of modern online lessons. You can schedule lessons and invite participants from all your classes. You can launch the lessons. They last up to 40 minutes or longer if you have a paid Zoom account. Share screen. Share screen allows you to show learners your screen, so when you bring up any picture or PDF book on your screen, for example, your students will be able to see exactly what you see. You can also use screen share to show presentation slides to present new language, show images to explain vocabulary, play a video on a video channel, show a student's written work and elicit corrections one-to-one, display texts for students to complete comprehension tasks. Audio. Playing audio in some platforms might require you to tick a box or change a setting before students can hear it. If you can't play the audio, you may need to share the audio file with your students, give them time to listen to it on their own, and then come back to the classroom. Students could also be given the audio before the lesson to listen to for homework. Chat box. The chat box can make online lessons better than face-to-face lessons. It's a place where you can ask all learners to respond and share answers, ideas, etc., all at the same time. This means that all learners are busy thinking and using English, and you can access the learning of all your learners in the class. Also, there are some ways to use the chat box. Elicit answers to questions, get answers to an exercise, ask students to produce an example sentence, brainstorm and share ideas and options, provide corrections to errors, allow students to ask questions. Interactive whiteboard. Some video conferencing platforms have an interactive whiteboard. This allows you to record vocabulary, highlight the grammar form, mark pronunciation features, note down learner errors, etc., just as you might on a board in the face-to-face classroom. The whiteboard is interactive unless you change the settings, which means learners can type on it too. You can usually save it as a PDF and share it with your class after a lesson. Polls. A polling tool allows you to ask a multiple-choice question that your students answer, where you see the results in real time. Polls are great for student engagement and a wonderful formative assessment tool. Polls can be used in many ways in the online classroom, including understanding student needs and helping learners set goals, engaging students and getting them curious about a topic, checking students' understanding before, during, or after a teaching cycle, sparkling discussion, reflecting on learning. If your platform doesn't have this tool, you can ask the same questions in the chat box and monitor responses. As for me, I'd like to use my own Telegram channel for creating polls. Breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are virtual rooms where learners can be split into pairs or groups. While you can't usually monitor them all at the same time, you can drop into one room at a time to monitor each pair or group. Breakout rooms are fantastic for speaking activities, as it means pair or work or group can be conducted as it is in the face-to-face classroom. You can also use them for peer assessment, collaborative writing tasks, brainstorming activities, jigsaw reading tasks, games, and so on. Raise hand icon. In many platforms, your students can click on a raise hand icon to get your attention, show that they want to answer a question, ask a question, or that they've finished a task, so you know to move on. Recording a session allows you to make the lesson available to your students after the class for review and to send to any students who missed the lesson to catch up. Do remember to tell the students before you hit record to warn them. Online tools for the virtual teenage classroom. There are many tools you can use to facilitate independent learning with your teenage students. Using online tools can also make your virtual classes more dynamic and ensure the students feel part of a group of learners, even if they are studying online at home. Padlet. Padlet is an interactive noteboard where learners can add photos, text, documents, links, and audio recordings. Quizlet. Quizlet allows you and your students to create self-study flashcards and interactive activities to help learn and revise new vocabulary. WordWall. WordWall allows you to create custom activities for the classroom such as quizzes, word games, and interactive matching tasks. Younglish. You use YouTube to improve your English pronunciation. With a great number of video tracks, Younglish gives you fast answers about how English is spoken by real people and in context. Live Worksheets. Live Worksheets transforms your traditional printable worksheets into self-correcting interactive exercises that the students can do online. Woodward English. Improve English with interactive vocabulary and grammar games. Enjoy the easiest explanation of English grammar.